Lord. All right, guys. So this is going to be for the semester exam step to step as far as your guide on what to upload for the semester exam grade. So if you look at this is for the Drawing 2 class, and I kind of just quickly went over this, and just as a reminder that these were the assignments that we did. So we have 1 grayscale, 2 shape and form. You should have 2 to 3 attachments because you were supposed to draw multiple of these. So it was the sphere, cylinder, cube, cone, and pyramid. Then you've got the animal practice. Remember we had tried drawing the frog, which is the one that had like the shape where it looked like it was kind of reaching out. So that was the practice there. And I will show you guys pictures right now of what my folder looks like once I placed all of those pictures in there, because I did take photographs of these and sent it to myself. So I'll show you what that looks like when I screen share. Then we have the animal reference, which means you do have to include the picture of the animal that you originally did for the shape and form with the animal assignment. That's the one where you guys drew the animal with the shape and forms as well, and it was kind of checkerboard pattern. So if you don't remember what that is, that's this one here. Then we've got the food practice, which was the eggs and bacon. So hopefully you guys still have all of these with you, and if you don't, I'll give you guys a couple of options because I did have some students ask about that. Then we have the food reference for the food drawing, which is the last one. Remember, you guys are supposed to take a picture to be able to submit to me for a grade. So you will also have to include the actual photograph that you guys used, and then the food drawing assignment itself, okay? So these are the things. If you want to take a quick picture of my screen, go for it. So that way you guys have a list for those of you guys that do need to submit to me. Like I said, I'm going to type this out so you can actually read it, and I will submit it on Google Classroom on the actual stream. So that will be there, as well as a link to this video. So that way, if you guys need to watch it again to see how to do this and what I'm expecting for you guys to upload, it will be there for you, okay? So this is the quick list. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you guys, because like I said, you should have had a folder that has all of your work already saved in there. So some of the work that's on here, some of these are the sketches, but let me show you in order so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I'm gonna show you what to do once you guys have them, okay? So for those of you guys that have not been here, or at least not that you haven't been here, but if you guys like have your stuff all out of order, this was the first one that we did. So this is the one, and I'll put the list back up here. This is the grayscale form. So that's number 1. So if you have this, go ahead and put this as your first one and just kind of like get yourself organized and start putting them in order. The second one is the one that we did like this, which was the practice of the shape and forms. And you should have done at least 2 of each. That's why the number 2 is right next to them, because you should have done 2 of each of those. And that's this whole list that's right here. This is why I said you might have 2, you might have 3 papers. So you'll just take pictures of all of them and just be ready to upload those as well, okay? The animal practice is this one. Remember we tried that first frog that we originally tried drawing? So if you want to incorporate that, if you had a reference, you guys didn't have references like this because this was my reference and you just followed along with me. So if you have additional references because you drew something else, not what I did, then you should incorporate this as well. So total I have here 8. But if you guys end up submitting more than 8 because you have additional references and additional sketches, like if you practice, include it, because that's just going to help you with your grade, okay? And then this is my other reference right here. So I put it, but you guys don't necessarily need that reference, but this would be honestly my reference. So if I'm looking at the number on this one, this would be my animal reference for the original picture. Because if you guys look at my final one, which is this one right here, that right there is that's number 5 right here. So because this is my animal, and then I've got this one over here as the reference for it, this would be considered 4, this would be considered 5, okay, on that list. Then after that one, I've got the food practice, which was the egg and bacon. So you guys should still have this one. That's going to be right there, what you see, which is number 6. And then, of course, the food reference is the picture of your regular food, whichever was your final. That's going to be number 7. And then the food drawing, which is the final food. I don't have one because I did this one with you guys. Everybody did something different. So you should, these were some of the practices I did with students. You know, I was showing them how to draw certain things. So I kept them because I hold on to everything. But you will have, of course, a final look for yours. So I just kind of wanted to show you what those look like really quick on camera. So you guys have something to look at on the video and you can kind of get your stuff ready to go. This is what I mean by that you guys should have a folder with all your stuff in it. Because if you had on your table something like this and your mom sees it, she's gonna think it's trash. So you guys always want to keep yourself organized and put it in a folder that says drawing two. You can put the period that you have with me as well as your name. And you can even put my name like art class, Mrs. Palmenes, or whatever the case is. So when they see these folders, they don't think any of the stuff is trash and they won't throw it away from you, okay? So now that I kind of went over the list, which I will type out and give you guys on Google Classroom, I kind of showed you what the pictures look like. Now I'm going to show you what you should be doing to be able to take the photographs and being able to upload them on to the actual Google Classroom when I apply that assignment on the day of the final. Now, most people have been submitting stuff that doesn't look too good on camera, and I'm going to explain to you why. So these are the reasons, and in all honesty, for those of you guys that are still here that did get exempt from doing it, I'm going to explain to you guys a better way of you guys taking photographs of your work to be able to submit to me for your final grade starting second semester. So just because I'm going over this with everybody, in all honesty, you guys should start improving on how you're submitting your work to me on the second half. First half, I was not very critical with how you guys were submitting your work to me, just because it's first time, you know, for people to probably have to do something like this, like submit something to me online. And number two, you guys probably don't have access to all of this stuff or didn't even think about it. So I'm trying to make you guys aware if you are scanning, because that's another thing. I saw people scanning their work to upload to me. It scans it as a copy. So you don't see the actual transitions and so forth. Those of you guys that have been submitting your work through scanning method are doing yourself an injustice, because I can't give you guys a good enough grade because I can't see the transitions and so forth. So you do need to be taking your photographs with a phone, or if you guys do have a regular digital camera and you guys can just hook it up to the computer to download the pictures on there, you can do it that way. Or sometimes they have the little cartridges that you can put, if you guys do have access to that. That's another way of submitting your work to me with better quality, okay? Now, if you don't have a phone, because that was one of the questions I got in the other class. They were like, ma'am, what if we don't have a phone? Like, I really don't have one. I just been doing everything since the school gave me the Chromebook and I have the hotspot. That's all I have access to. And the camera on the Chromebook is not great. So they've been trying to submit that way. I mean, use your parents' phone. If you have like a tia or somebody that has a phone that will do you the favor, they can always take the pictures for you. Like if you visit or whatever, it's somebody that you quarantine with. Hopefully you have access to at least something to where they can email you the pictures, and then you can kind of fix them up once you have them on your email, like once you download them to the computer. So I am going to show you guys options of how you can clean up the images even before you send them to yourselves. So that way they're better quality photographs, okay? Now, before class started, because I don't have signal in this room for my phone, I actually went ahead and took photographs of everything so that way I could send it to myself through email, because how I don't have a signal here. So I had to prep myself. So that's what I'm saying. If I can prep and think ahead of time, guys, to be able to present to you guys, you should be able to think ahead of time as well, and just to be able to submit something for class. So you have several days. I just had today because I honestly didn't know how bad the actual, reception is here. So there are a couple of things I do need to go over with you guys. Now, right now, as far as the quality right now, let me just bring down, it's because the lighting is too bright. So that's why you can't really see it on screen. So one thing I will mention to you guys. So problems that I see with people submitting work besides getting it scanned. They take a picture of it like this and they send it to me like this as is, without, like they're leaving all the excess sides and so forth like that. And you have to be aware that when you guys upload this, I'm seeing all of this. So to do it properly, you want to be able to, one, crop your photo And so you shouldn't have to do too much editing. I shouldn't have you guys run these through filters. A lot of the problems that I'm seeing when people are taking their photographs, even before they crop or do any kind of editing on this, they're not using the proper lighting. Now here in my room, I have access to an Elmo. So if I lift this machine that I've got, I'm turning it on. It's not on right now. But if I turn it on, the light comes on. Yes, it'll look a little bright right now, but I have the option on this machine that if I move it around, I can kind of play with the lighting. So that way, when I take the photograph, the shadows don't come out, depending on, of course, where I have the setup. At home, you guys don't have these types of machines to be able to work with if you don't have great lighting. So my recommendation for you guys at home, put this on the floor next to a window or next to like a door that has windows. For those of you guys that have like the sliding doors, or if you have a French door to go to the backyard, that sort of thing. When you get lighting from the window, the light's coming here from the side. So if you're right above it with your phone, you're not going to get shadows like this because the lighting's coming here from an angle. So that's an option. If you guys have fluorescent lighting, like in a bathroom or in a kitchen, just be very careful because you have to get up on top. You'll create these shadows like you see that I'm creating here. So be very careful and aware of how you're taking your picture. Basically what you want it to look like, and I'll shut off the lights here because I actually have okay lighting here. Basically what you want it to look like is put it next to your photograph like that. And if you're getting similar, like mine looks very similar. I did have to bring down the brightness on my phone, but that's like a video camera issue here. But you can see like it looks very similar to it, and I don't have to do any kind of editing when it comes to running this through a filter. The only exception would be if this is black and white and you look over here and it doesn't really look black and white, there's like a yellow hue or things like that. You might want to run it through a black and white filter. However, I would actually play with the saturation, because if you run it through a filter, what happens is that your transitions are not going to look the same. So try to get it as close to the original image as possible. If you do have to do that, like I said, I would rather you, and so write this on your notes, I would rather you not run it through a filter and play with the saturation. That's the word you're looking for when you go through your edit button. Now, so let's say you take a picture, it looks great as far as like it looks similar with the lighting. It looks just like it does in front of me. What you're gonna do is you're gonna hit the edit button, and there's two specific edits that you gotta do. First off, you're gonna crop it, and that means that you're gonna cut the image. So you're gonna bring it in to fit the image as best as possible without cropping a lot of the edge, because you don't want to take away from the photo. The other thing is that if I take it like this to fit the whole picture and I upload this onto Google Classroom, this is the way I'm going to see it. It's going to be sideways. So you also need to rotate your image as well, which is usually the little arrow button. And then once I have that, if I don't have to play with the saturation, so let's say it looks exactly like the same color here, then I just hit save. If I have to play with the saturation, it's usually going to be one of these little edit buttons, and it's usually this one. And then you just have to look. See, that's brightness. I believe saturation for me is one of these, but I'm not going to mess with it. You guys just look for the word saturation, okay? Mine's perfect, so I'm not going to do anything but hit save. Now, the other thing that I also have to be aware of, and I'll be honest with you, I'm looking at mine right now. Does anybody see anything wrong with my cropping method? Can you guys tell on my camera? And if you're willing to put your voice on the mic, you can go ahead and answer. And if not, you can type it. But does anybody see what's wrong with this even before I say it? I'll give you a hint. It's on the top. Okay, no one wanted to take a guess. That's okay. So I'll go ahead and I'll mention it. Look, the little line, I didn't crop it all the way. So even before I want to get this one corrected, I'm going to go back to my edit button and I'm going to bring down that top line just a little bit. So I'm going to just bring this down and I'm going to crop it and save. And you can see the difference. Look at this versus this one. That will capture the attention of the viewers. So for me, this is a lot cleaner look. So make sure you crop it properly, okay? Now, once you have this, so for my people who are exempt from having to turn this in, this is how you guys should be submitting your photos to me every single time when you guys are going on to Google Classroom. Do this first, so that way it looks good as you guys are submitting to me, okay? The other thing you guys have to do, go to the ellipsis button where it says details. You're gonna click on details and you need to rename your photographs. So this is gonna be more for, I'm gonna go to edit and you see how it has the number? The number on here is 2020-1209 underscore, excuse me, 153154. If I upload this to Google Classroom, that's gonna be the title on the picture. And instead of doing that, rename it. So instead of putting that number, I know this assignment is my shape and form. So I'm gonna put shape and form and, oh, it's because I accidentally added that one. So shape and form, and then it's also animal. So I can at least title it like that. And in all honesty, guys, even before I save it, I want to go back to my original one. And which one was that on here? Number 5. So I should put the number 5 right in front of it. So that way I know that I have them in order. When I upload them, they should be in order with the numbers. Okay. And then I'll hit save. And now it's going to be, when I click on it and I look at the details, that's going to be the name. Number 5, shape and form with animal. Okay. So that's the way you guys should prep. For those of you guys that have Google Classroom on your phone, save them like that first. Honestly, I would go back and all my other ones, I can go back and just click all the other ones that I didn't like because I know it was the last one that I saved, delete them. So you don't get confused. When you have to go upload on Google Classroom, you know exactly, and also make sure you save it in your drive, first of all, but you guys know that at least which one is which, okay? So I'm not gonna delete those. I'm gonna leave them there for the meantime. Now, the other thing that I will recommend, so that's the first thing that I'll mention. I'm trying to see if there's any other ones that I have to talk about. It's the same thing for the references. So if you guys have your references, I took a picture of my reference, but you should have your references also on your phones. Make sure you title them, same thing. So this one would be reference for, which one's this one? Animal reference, that's number 4. So when you title it as that, because if you save it from the internet, it's gonna have the actual detail on this. This is not from the internet, but if you do go to details, it's gonna have the internet number of what it was saved under, okay? So I'm not gonna worry about that because mine was a photograph itself. So once you have all of the pictures, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on the ones that you've already have edited. If you didn't delete them, the other ones, you should be able to tell just by the way that you rotated it and if it's cropped as well. So you'll select, I'm just selecting whichever ones, but pretending you guys have the ones that you're gonna select correctly. And this is for the people who are not going to submit through phone. If you're gonna try to submit it through the computer, then you wanna share it. You wanna go to your account that you have set up for your email address. I'm not gonna put my thing on camera as far as the information, but at least you guys can see this part of it. So you'll get into your email and all the ones that you should selected should be there as an email. You want to send it to whichever email address you can open up on your computer. I already emailed it to myself, so I'm not going to send this because I don't have Signal here anyways, but I had already done this prior to class because I needed to have it ready to show you guys, okay? Subject, this is a very, very important, like if I can give you guys advice, this is very important for you guys to know. And this goes to anybody, especially if this is like a portfolio for this class. Always title your subject something that you can remember a year from now. So let's just say you're in my class. Next year you take Mr. Palmenes, or next year you take Ms. Lopez or Mr. Burns or any other art teacher. And you want to try a competition with them. And they're like, okay, well, let me see what you've done in the past. And if you have this as a backup, you can send it to yourself. Make sure you title it how you're going to remember it. So I would title it, let's see, portfolio under my subject. Portfolio, this is for drawing 2. So I'll put drawing 2. Make sure I do the capital. Drawing 2, and I could put Palmenes or however I want to remember it. And when I send it to myself, if I ever have to go back and like prove to Mr. Palmenes, well, sir, yes, look at my work from Mrs. Palmenes's class, you can find it very easily. You don't have to go back in all of your email checking for that one email. You just go straight into subject and you just kind of filter by portfolio and you should be able to find it. Because who knows if you're going to remember my name, but you'll remember it was the Drawing 2 class. So this is why you guys want to make sure that you guys always title your stuff and think about it. In a year from now, if I'm going to try to look for this, what would I search it under? Okay. So once you send it to yourself, you know, like I said, I already sent it to myself, so I'm not going to resend it. It's saved as a draft, but that's okay. So what I'm going to end up doing at this point, now let's just pretend I got it sent. I'm going to screen share my screen with you guys so I can show you the process after you've already emailed it to yourself. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to screen share. So now I'm going to come over to screen number 1 so you guys can see, and I'm going to share it. Okay. So now that you guys see my email, you know, over here, this is from BISD because this is the one that I sent to myself. You're going to notice that when I open the email, I have all of these pictures in here. So some of them are duplicates. I'm only going to select the ones that I know I need. So I know for sure this is number 1. So I'm going to download this one first. And you're going to see that it opens up this one. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to save as. And this is the portfolio. So I'm going to go to my desktop because when you want to do a portfolio, guys, and I do have the portfolios here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a new folder. So I went to desktop. I'm going to create a new folder because this is the first one I'm saving. And I'm going to title it portfolio. Oops. Portfolio. And this is for Drawing 2. And I even want to put fall 2020, just so I know what semester we're in, because we're going to have to do a separate one for the spring. So portfolio Drawing 2, fall 2020, that looks great. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up that folder and I'm going to save it. Now, before you save it, guys, title it already. If I know this is my first assignment, let me double click here. I'm going to put 1, just so I know that it's number 1. And I'm going to put grayscale. So now that I have it titled correctly and I hit save, it's going to save in that file and I know that's set. So that's my number 1. Then I'm going to go to number 2, which is the shape and form. And I have multiples of these and that's okay. So I'm going to download, go here, click save as. This is number 2 and it's shape and form. Oops. Shape and form, and I'm gonna put this one just because I know it's for the sphere and the cube. I can go ahead and put there sphere and cube. That way, when I come to the next one, so that's my first one. You guys might have 2 or 3 of these, so title them correctly. I'll go ahead and I'll just download this one because I have 2 of them for that, but I'm just gonna download this one. I'll come here. I'll go to save as. I'm still going to put this as number 2, but instead of the sphere and cube, I'm going to title this. So I'll start it here since I know it's going to be clicked, but I'm going to remove the sphere and cube. And this one is for the cylinder. It's for the cone and pyramid. Let's see, pyramid. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and click save. And there you go. I've got that one saved. So I'll just continue and I'll just double check. My animal practice out of all these would be this one. So let me go ahead. I clicked the wrong one, but that's okay. I can still download it from here. So you just click download and then here, save as. And before I save it, I want to make sure that I title it 3 animal practice. And I'll go ahead and click save and it's already saving. Okay, I'm going to close this just because I accidentally opened it. Okay, and so I'll just keep going. I'll double check all of them and I'll just keep continuing to save until I get all of them. That was number 3. So number 4, for those of you guys that are working along with me, the next one is the animal reference, which would be this one for me. You guys are gonna have a different animal reference. It's not gonna be the same as mine because you guys chose a different animal. So I'm gonna go to save as. This one's gonna be number 4. Animal reference, save as, and then I'm gonna have number 5. So I gotta look for number 5, which is the actual work itself. So I'm gonna download this one and I'm gonna save this one. So you can see how easy it is. It's not hard and it shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes max. Some of you guys will be able to do this in 10 minutes and you're finished, okay? So this one is titled Shape and Form with Animal. And I'm gonna hit save. And then just because of the sake of me having all of them in there and you guys can take a picture of it, let me just go ahead and do all of them. So the next one was the eggs and bacon. So those of you guys that are gonna have to submit this, at least you have a good reference that you can take a photograph from mine, and you should not be lost with what you have to upload. So this is number 6, and this is titled Food Practice. And this is eggs and bacon. Save. And then after the food, you guys have a picture of your food. I don't have that one, okay? So I'm just gonna choose whichever. I guess I can select, I'll select this one. So this one's not a picture of the food, but just be aware that the next one has to be the picture of the food that you decided that you were gonna draw. So I'm gonna just use this one as an example. Okay, so you know exactly how many you have to have uploaded. So this one is, I'm gonna put reference for food. For food reference, drawing. Save, and then the last one that I should have is the actual food drawing itself. So when you guys do your food, whichever that was, Pablo, I'll go ahead and I'll pick yours. So this one I had done for Pablo as a practice to show him how, but you, whatever is the one that you selected at the very end will be the last one, which is number 8. So 8, and we have food drawing assignment. So the only thing that I did wrong here, so if you do this, if you accidentally like feel that you made the mistake, and I'll show you real quick. Let me go, this for painting. I'm just getting the correct folder open, guys. So if I come here, it's for my other class. So we're looking for drawing 2. So the only thing that's wrong, like if I'm looking, because this is the way you should have it. You should have a separate folder like this that has all of your works, and you should have a total of 8. So we have 1, 2, 3 technically, okay, 4 because I had multiple here. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and total of 9 if you're talking about also including the other one. So I'm actually gonna come right here and let me double check because these are gonna be 2. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the one I didn't do it. So if you accidentally, let's say you just save them all without naming them, all you have to do is right click, rename, and I can easily put number 7 right in front of here. So just because you guys saved it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go back and delete it and redo it. No, just rename it. So if you accidentally name it wrong, just right click, go to rename, and you can name it whatever you want, okay? The images will always stay the same. So you can do any editing. So that means, and right now it's not in order, but if I were to close this and open it again, so if I go back to my folder, which is desktop, and then it's gonna be for drawing. Now they're in order. See, it's just closing it and refreshing it. So you should have a total of 8, technically 9, because you should have a couple of them for this, 2 to 3. So anywhere between 8 and I would even say to 10, because some of you guys might have more than 2 of these, okay? Does that make sense as far as what you guys need to do from now until the day of the final? Because this is all you're doing, is just getting yourself organized with a folder that looks like this. So if you know you're gonna have to submit to me, guys, take a picture of this. Take a picture of my folder of what it looks like and how many pictures you're supposed to have in there. The only thing that's different on mine is this one right here, number 7. This is supposed to be a picture of your food. Just like this is a picture of the animal that I use to do this. Number 7, make a note on there. It doesn't look like this. Number 7 should look like the picture of Pablo's cookies, because I have the ones that, this is my assignment. If this is my assignment, this should be the reference picture that I took for that one, okay? That's the only difference when you guys upload yours. But take a photograph of my folder so you can see what you're gonna look like. So this is what you're gonna do right now until this weekend. And then when you come to me on the day of the final, all you guys have to do is just upload this. You already have it ready. So you'll just upload it there. If you have it on your phone, ready to go, also titled ready to go, you can upload them through your phone if that's the way you deal with the semester exam. Like you are, if you're always uploading stuff on Google Classroom to your phone, then it's the same thing, okay? Do I have any questions at this point? I'm gonna stop screen sharing so that way I can change my camera. If you guys need to take a picture of this, you can, but like I said, I will share this with you typed on Google Classroom itself, just in case. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. So if anybody has any questions, they can ask